Because I don't think she put an ad in the paper being like, "I'm looking for work," and an assassin agency was like, "What we need is an 11-year-old." I don't think. I don't. I hope that's not what happened.
Go find me a young lady right now.
But this is a comedy anime, so I don't put it totally past them to be like, "Yeah, that's exactly how it happened."
Hello, good morning, and good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the Gurren Otaku Council podcast. As always, I'm your host, Ace.
And I'm your host, Chameleon.
And we are back finally for another week of anime. But as always, if you'd like to become a council member and join me, McMillian, as we discuss all things anime and sometimes manga, then make sure you hit that like and subscribe button as well as follow us on our social media so you can stay up to date on all things about the council. And with that being said, the council is now in session. Let the meeting begin. We took a week off and I thought he was going to forget about that.
Nope.
All right.
No.
All right. So, hello, everybody. Welcome back. We're back with another weekly episode. We missed you guys. It's been a while right here. Our friend McMillian here left me out to dry by myself for an entire week because he left me to go on vacation. But now he's back. So, how you doing, McMillian? How was your vacation?
I am good. I am rejuvenated from all the roller coasters I rode and ready to talk about some anime.
Do you have yeah, that's nice. Maybe my friend McMillian here will have some pictures to share with the congregation. Either we might have put up a little slideshow up on the video now, or we'll share them on our social media, so you'll be looking out for those if he's considerate and generous enough to share some of his photos with us.
Hey, if people want to see him, I don't mind sharing them, I guess.
But all right, glad to have you back. And we're gonna, as always, start us off with some council announcements here, everybody. And got a little list, not too big. But once again, I want to start off by saying that our series review of the Netflix anime Vampire in the Garden is out and live now. So if you've not yet had a chance to go watch that, please do so. It is now live on both our audio only platforms as well as YouTube. So go and check that out. Also moving from there, next week there may be a possibility of no episode next week due to some issues here on the council.
Family emergency. I know I left you for a week, and I know I'm leaving you for another week. I am so sorry.
It's all right, things happen. So yes, due to family emergencies, there is a possibility that we're not be an episode next week. But if I can pull some stuff, out of a hat here, out of my magic hat, then we will have something for you guys next week. But as of right now, I don't know. I got a week to think of something. So let's see if I can think of something. But so moving on from there, we're supposedly we're supposed to be getting some more information on VINLAND season 2, VINLAND Saga rather, season 2 on June 8th. This Wednesday here at the time of the release of this video, actually. So hopefully we do get that information on June 8th because we're waiting. We're freaking waiting. This information supposed to been came out about a month ago, and they just left us hanging, and so now they finally saying something, and hopefully we do get some more information about this because Vinland Saga season 2 needs to happen. It needs to happen. And now let me tell you right now, if Vinland Saga season 2, if they say this shit is coming for the fall, it is over with. I don't know what the hell we gonna do for a fall lineup. But if they say this shit is released in fall of this year, it is. I don't know what we're gonna do because right now fall 2022 is fucking stacked. Like it is stacked.
It's looking to be a very nice time for the fall. That's all I gotta say.
It is stacked. But yeah, so hopefully we get some more information on that. And once we do find out some more information, of course, we will come back and share that with you guys, just in case you don't hear about it yourselves. And yeah, so also moving on from there, there has been rumors going around. This is not confirmed yet, but there has been rumors going around that I think it's a webtoon. It's either a webtoon or light novel. But anyways, the Solo Leveling is getting a anime adaptation. It once again is nothing confirmed. These are just rumors that have been going around. Our friend McMillian here has actually been reading Solo Leveling, so he can explain a little bit more about it.
Yeah, so it's both a light novel and a webtoon. And it's really good. How do I describe it without spoiling? It focuses on this guy who basically starts off in his world as like one of the weakest people in it. The world he lives in is kind of like video gamey type a little bit. Like dungeons exist in the world, and people who go into dungeons are called hunters, and they either team up with a guild or they do it solo and reap the benefits from themselves. Most people team up with guilds because they're sponsored by the country, and that helps it out with everything like that. One day, a major accident happens within a dungeon, and it allows our main character to boss up in a certain type of way that I'm not going to spoil because it's really cool. And basically, the whole story centers around like him and his growth, as well as what his growth, how it affects the world around him, because it's related to basically how his whole world runs.
Okay.
The way he's able to grow.
What's up? Is it an isekai?
It is not an isekai. His world is legitimately just like.
So he was born into this world.
Yeah. It's just a fantasy type. Well,
yeah, it's just a fantasy.
Yeah, it's a fantasy. Yeah, I guess fantasy video game type world.
Okay, basically. All right. I was about to say, because I heard you say he was the word he was born into, and I was like, wait a minute, did he get reincarnated? Is this another isekai?
It is not an isekai. I do, or at least I don't think, because isekai, I think you have to either
be reincarnated
or be reincarnated
or get transported to that world some way somehow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I don't know. It's not an isekai, and then watch somebody in the comments being like, "Actually, Jay, it is," and I'm like, "Well, fuck."
All right. I'm gonna say this one. So also on August the 4th, the Kakegurui Twin anime is scheduled for August the 4th, another Netflix anime. This is a prequel to the Kakegurui anime that's out now on Netflix now. I have not watched it before, but I heard it was good, and since they got a prequel coming out, I might go and take a look at it. We also might review this series as well.
Possibly. It has 2 seasons right now on Netflix. Really solid in my opinion. Crazy as hell. So if you do plan on watching it, just be prepared, because gambling and weird people that like gambling. It is like Food Wars, but for gambling, basically.
Not Food Wars, but for gambling.
It's not as raunchy, but it has moments where you're like, okay. All right.
All right. Well, so that is the end of our council announcements. Thank you, everybody, for coming to our council announcements. And now we're going to move on to our episode we have here for today. And just like I explained in our last regular episode, we are going to be doubling up on our 3 animes we have here for today. So we're going to be doing episode 8 and 9 of our 3 animes, but we're going to be doing this a little differently than our previous double ups. So for episode 8 of the animes we shall be discussing today, we're only going to go through basically a quick summary of episode 8 and anything important that we want to touch up on. We're going to discuss that, and then we're going to go straight into episode 9 and do our full shebang for that episode. But yeah, so as always, we're going to start, not as always, but this time we're going to keep our lineup the same from last week. We're going to start with that time Anju gets reincarnated as an assassin who's also a wife, also formerly known as SPYxFAMILY. So once again, we're going to start off with episode 8, and we're going to let our boy McMillian here give us the rundown.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, episode 8 basically takes place off of where we last left off in episode 7 with Yor's brother, the lovable Yuri, meeting the family, besides Anya. And we start the episode off basically, though, with Twilight having a meeting with one of his correspondents and him telling them, hey, your job is basically going to get a little bit harder because the secret police of Westalis is cracking down on our operation. Fast forward, it shows to the fact that one of the people that worked at the Secretary of State office in Westalis who was a spy, got compromised, taken to the secret police, got interrogated, and lo and behold, who's there? Pinocchio.
Not Pinocchio.
Not really, Yuri. And we basically found out that Lloyd has not only married an assassin, but he's married an assassin who has a brother that works for his mortal enemies. I mean, he doesn't know that she's an assassin, but hey. And then fast forward, Yuri makes it to the home of Lloyd and Yor. He bringing flowers, acting like he's going to be a very astute gentleman and be like, I'm going to, judge if Lloyd is right for my sister, based on this introduction. And it starts normal, but in true Spy Family fashion, it gets weird. Because this man is like, hey, start doing this lovey-dovey shit in front of me. Because I want to see it. And and everything just kind of spirals from there. Because Yor's hella uncomfortable. And Lloyd's just like, look, I'm a spy. I done played this part before. Let's just get it over with. He's doing this Yuri is doing this so much, and it's sprung up even more by like the alcoholism because they're drinking wine. And he's just as much, if not more so, a lightweight than his sister, to the point where he's like, look, unless y'all start kissing in front of me right now, it's over with. This ain't a family.
Going to the police.
This is fake. And that is where episode 8 basically ends.
All right. Yeah, so that was episode 8 where we have our, like you said, our lovable Yuri here coming in acting a plump fool. Mm-hmm. So a few things I guess of that is noteworthy from episode 8. So one, we weren't really technically right, but we weren't necessarily technically wrong about this as well. So Yuri doesn't necessarily work for, I can't remember his name right now, but Damien's father,
Desmond. I forget their last name. I know his first name.
His name is Desmond. So Yuri doesn't directly work for Desmond, but he does work for this country's CIA and their secret services. Mm-hmm. Which he calls it they call it the Secret Service, and that's the Secret Service is directly trying to find Twilight. So that is a problem. So the group that fucking is trying to find Twilight, Yor's brother is a part of that group, so that doesn't help our situation here. Mm-hmm. One thing we don't know though is if Desmond is anyway linked to the Secret Service or not. We don't know if that is true or not, so that we're still waiting to see if that may be a possibility. But as of right now, the situation is still not good because the Secret Service is trying to look for Twilight, and he basically let one into his home, which is not necessarily a good thing. And I'm pretty sure he's going to be around more often now.
Not the best actions, no, but it is interesting because within like episode 8, they show off like the subterfuge of like both like how Twilight operates based on the countries he's in, and how like the Secret Service will make small talk basically to try and lull you into a sense of like, oh, well, they're not actually Secret Service, but in reality,
they are.
This is the scripts. So.
And then I got 2 more points I want to touch upon, at least noteworthy points for episode 8. So we also found out from this episode 8 that Yuri and Yor lost we don't know if they died, but lost their parents at a young age. They grew up poor, and I guess that caused Yor to take over the household duties, if you will. But it appears that Yor was killing people from a very, very young age.
Yes.
Which is wild to think about. We thought she may have gotten into this, field
as an adult,
but apparently she got into this field to
as a child,
take care of her brother, basically. Well, that isn't necessarily confirmed, but if you take the hints from the episode, that's basically what you get from it. Yor, their parents was gone, and Yor had to take care of both of them, and Yor was basically killing people at an early age. Because how we found this out is Yor comes back one day from quote unquote work, all covered in blood and everything, and we're just like, okay, well,
that's a respectable young woman right there. She's working at a grocery store, obviously, or a paint shop, I guess.
And this doesn't happen once; this happened multiple times. And for the fact that Yuri's just, well, I guess technically was a kid at that point, but still, he just doesn't question it. You come home blood all over your face and everything is just a little wild. But I mean, I guess what do you think about Yor getting to assassin at a young age?
That's interesting. I don't know if they'll ever explore that because this is a comedy series. But if they did, I'd be like, I would like to know how that started. Because what agency is out here recruiting like 10-year-olds to go and stab people? I want to know. That sounds like an interesting story.
It does sound like an interesting story.
So yeah,
we might get it one day because, like, how does it like even come? Like, how does she even find a job like that? Like, how does that, like you said, like, how does that even just come about?
I mean, I'm assuming that they lost their parents due to wartime. Because like, if Lloyd and Yor are around the same age, Lloyd was shown to have lost his parents due to the war. Like back in, was that episode 1? I think when he was like, I became a spy, so no other person would become like a crying child like me. So if we go off of that, then at least then maybe they took in Yor as like a child soldier and was like, "Hey, do this shit," and it just became like her becoming an assassin. Because I don't think she put an ad in the paper being like, "I'm looking for work," and an assassin agency was like, "What we need is an 11-year-old." I don't think. I don't. I hope that's not what happened.
Go find me a young lady right now.
But this is a comedy anime, so I don't put it totally past them to be like, "Yeah, that's exactly how it happened."
I'm done. But, yeah, so that was that. And then the last thing I really wanted to touch up on episode 8 is, I saw some stuff on social media about this as well, but it basically hit me when I first was watching this episode. Why did they have to give Yuri a sister complex in his characteristics? Like,
because it's hilarious it's hilarious in Japan, I guess. I don't know. In America, it's weird. The funny thing was watching him squirm, but not more so being like, I want my sister to be in love with me. That was, like that deterred it for me. But
yes,
him squirming of being like, oh, my sister's in love. I was like, that could be any doting brother. That could be like an older brother or younger brother. But him being like, no, Yor can't kiss people unless it's me. Nigga, what?
Yeah, and it was very cringeworthy to watch. And I haven't had a dislike yet for Spy Family, but they finally got one. This is it. this is it.
Yeah, I don't necessarily understand the sister complex thing. I think that's like a cultural thing that happens, because that's not making fun of a overprotective parent or brother or sibling. That's something that we do here, but them having like, I'm in love with my brother, and or like, for instance, there's an anime, a regular Magic High School. The main girl has a brother complex, and it deters me every time it happens. And I'm like, wow, this is a really interesting magic, and she's talking about sleeping with a brother.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
There we go. But yeah, so no, yeah, that when that popped up in the show, I was like, whoa, wait a minute, what are we doing here? Could we not have just stuck with the overprotective brother thing? Like, did we have to go to the sister complex situation? Because I mean, at least in this case, I guess I can kind of understand why he would, technically have one, because he grew up without parents, and his sister fucking raised him. So, there's that. But do I still agree with it? No. Do I understand? I guess. I mean, is there, but
understanding is not approval.
Just remember it is that.
Not. you too, listener. Anytime you tell somebody that you understand the side of an argument and they get flippant, just remind them, understanding is not approval. It just means you know what happened.
I don't approve of your message. I understand your message. Like, I see where you're coming from. Do I agree with you though? No, not at all. But,
not at all. But I can understand
it. So yes, Spy Family gets his first dislike from me. Yuri's sister complex.
And that's fair. That's understandable. I get it. I can't. It puts a bad feeling in my stomach too. Still a good episode though. But
yes, overall, yes, it was still a good episode. Yes, I would agree.
So moving forward into episode 9. Oh, I forgot I didn't do the titles. Episode 8 is called The Counter Secret Police Cover Operation, and episode 9 is called Show Off How in Love You Are. I'm so sorry. But for episode 9, big horny energy at the start, like out the gate. We're going slow kiss mode, and in the funniest way that is interrupted is that Yor is like, I can't do this sober. Immediately grabs the bottle and just downs it, and I'm like, all right, we have gotten into dangerous territory, because as we all know, the drunken fist is a thing. Moving from there though, they're about to kiss, and then we get to see Yuri freak out and be like, hold on now. The only one who gets to touch my sister's lips should be me, and that's where the weirdness happens, unfortunately. But in his what do I want to say? His dismay in trying to stop it, Yor freaks out because he's like, I can't do this. I've never kissed anyone before, and slaps the shit clean out of Yuri, and he flies across the room in like comedic fashion. There's the flowers that he brought like burst everywhere, and it's crazy. And even Anya wakes up and is like, "Oh, it's at the end of the world," and then goes immediately back to sleep. And that whole thing spirals into somehow Yuri being like, I respect you, Lloyd, because my sister loves you so much she's willing to cause damage to me. Comedy. But he vows to he still doesn't accept their marriage, but he's like, I understand the thing, and he vows to be back to thwart their marriage in some way, shape, or form. But due to that and everything that happened, Lloyd is now very suspicious of Yor to the fact that she has a Secret Service brother. Understandable. He's a spy. He's got to be on his toes.
Very understandable.
An elaborate scheme is hatched between him and Frankie.
I don't think it was that elaborate.
That's the joke. It's not. It's not at all. To corner Yor during her workday and investigate to see if she truly knows that her the information that her brother is a Secret Service agent or not. And Yor, to Lloyd's surprise, or I guess not surprise, to Lloyd's hope, maybe, proves that she is innocent, that she knew nothing about this.
Innocent to proven guilty.
And she beat Frankie's ass. That's like the only thing that she did that I was like, yo, these are Secret Service people. You just out here beating the fuck out of them. I get it. They shouldn't be touching you. But also, ma'am, police.
Police.
But hey, you're going to do what the fuck she want.
I mean, we already figured that out.
Yep, and after that, we get a real wholesome ending because Anya comes home and notices the fact that Lloyd and Yor are working in tandem together, and just like, oh, mommy and daddy are, what is it? Mommy and daddy and Kitty are getting along, and then it's kind of like wraps up the episode.
Correct.
Yeah, nice. Two nice episodes. None too, I feel like, major for Spy Family. But really good executed.
Yes. No, I agree that we did get this. I agree. I appreciate that we got this episode because, it's shown that he is taking his spy job seriously because, one, her brother is a fucking Secret Service member. So now he has to do his due diligence and make sure that Yor ain't got no funny business going on, because that could have been the case. But, as we all know, that is not the case. Yor is an assassin. I thought that some of that might have gotten slipped out in this episode, and that he might have not necessarily found out that she was an assassin, but found out that she had another quote unquote hidden job, if you will. But that was not the case. But now we're still in the clear. So I didn't get my episode where he found out she was an assassin. It's coming though.
That's not coming for a while though. I'm pretty sure. Like that's, I won't say that's like series ending, but that's going to be pretty close. Like to, I feel like the end maybe.
Yeah.
Of the series is them finding out about each other's
real jobs and stuff. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I agree as well. But yeah, that's something that I thought was going to happen, or at least he was going to get like a small hint towards it, but didn't get that. But now Lloyd has a newfound trust for Yor once again, which is good to see. He doesn't, think she's a spy or anything again. And he might have actually even, I guess, almost fell in love with her more even this episode, if you will. Because, our boy Frankie mentions to Lloyd, like, don't be getting feelings for, Yor and stuff like that. Don't catch feelings. This is a job. No, you're a spy. We got to save the country, yada, yada, this. But of course, Lloyd ain't, he's listening, but it's still, it turns out that's not the case. And he's catching feelings for Yor slowly but surely. Slowly but surely.
If anything, respect and admiration to be like, family unit.
Yes, a family unit. I don't think there's anything other than that was really too much noteworthy from this episode. It was really just not yours. It was really just Lloyd trying to figure out if Yor was a secret spy or anything, and that was the episode. So I mean, there's not really much to talk about that that's really more noteworthy than that. So we can go ahead and move on to our dislikes for this episode. And as I was just saying, not really much that just happened in this episode. It was just Lloyd trying to figure out what the hell's going on with Yor. I don't really have any dislikes for this episode. Do you have anything?
No, not really. Like we already technically discussed the whole sister complex thing, so that's just a general dislike. I don't think that's attributed to this episode.
Well, you know what? I'm glad you brought that up because some more that popped up in this episode, and I guess if I did have to put a dislike in here, why the hell is Jerry locker full of pictures of Yor? What are we doing, my guy? Get it together. Get it together.
You know what? That's fair. That's fair. So I guess besides that, no, not really. I think I thought this was a pretty smart episode because I think eventually the fact that Lloyd is a spy, he would eventually start suspecting this woman who just randomly agreed to marry him out of the blue. Even if, even though they had a pretty solid understanding, it would be weird for Lloyd to at least not look into her deeper. Yes. Slightly. So I thought that
it would be very weird. Yeah, you just found out her brother's a Secret Service, and you're not going to at least find out something like have your mans look into it a little bit more or something like I don't know. Yes, it would have been very weird. But anyway, so we can move on to our favorite scenes for this episode 9, and I don't really. Well, no, I got one actually. My only one for this episode is when yours, like you said, smacked Yuri across the room and he hits the wall, and your Anya just wakes up like, "Is this the end of the world?" And she just goes back to sleep.
That was great. One of my that was a favorite scene of mine. So I'm not gonna dwell too much on it, but that was just that got a genuine laugh out of me. Spy Family always makes me laugh, but that was like, I was like, oh man, that was just good. That was wholesome.
Yeah, I was just laughing at Anya waking up. That was the hilarious part to me.
The other one that was funny to me was Lloyd when Lloyd and Frankie interrogated Yor, and Frankie got way too into it, and Lloyd was like, "I think you're going a little bit too far, my guy, but you got it," in his head, and then he ends up getting like, I don't know if she flips. She basically flips him, I think, or whatever. That was a good scene because I was just like, Frankie, you didn't have to be that aggressive, but this is what it gets you.
This is what it gets you.
Right here. So that was those are mine. I didn't have too much either.
Yeah, after that happened, I was like, please don't let them get in a fight with Yor right here. I hate to have to lose Lloyd like this. My boy Yor just goes back home. Where's Lloyd? And she left his man in this back alley. All crippled up and stuff. So let's go to episode. It's been a minute. Been a week here. Let's go to our rating for this episode here. And I will agree with you, McMillian. We was talking about this off camera. I think I got to give it, around a 7-ish. Nothing too higher than that. It was a decent episode. It had its moments here and there. Nothing too crazy happened, as we already explained multiple times. But it was an episode. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't great either. So I'll give it about a 7.
Yeah, I thought this episode is basically around a 7 because while it was entertaining, I think it wasn't as shine through as some of the other ones that we gave higher episodes to. If I could make up a phrase, it has great moments and everything, but I don't know. Not a lot. Well, stuff happens to progress the story, but it's just kind of like in a way, it felt like a side plot in a way, if that makes sense. Because it's not focusing directly on the family. Stuff happens around. I don't know. For me, it's maybe my explanation isn't doing the best. I'm gonna just shut up. But basically,
I can see where you're coming from. Like you said, it's not directly relating to the family, but I guess for the overarching part of the story, Lloyd has to look into Yor now. He has no choice but to look into.
No, that's what I was saying. I was like, maybe I'm saying that wrong. That's not necessarily 100% what I meant. That doesn't fully relate to the family, but I feel like what were we missing in this act is probably
I get what you're saying. Antics, because there were no Anya antics in this episode at all. It was just because she was gone. She went to school for this episode, and we didn't do any flash cuts to her at all while she was at school. I guess part of this, did we necessarily need a whole episode dedicated to Lloyd looking into Yor? Maybe not.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe half. We could have did this in maybe half the episode. Who knows? But regardless, I still think they had to show us them
Oh
looking
yeah, no,
Lord
I don't
looking at
think.
Yor one way or another.
Yeah, I agree. I guess maybe it's more so just not enough happened. I guess with the tailing, I
Correct,
would have
because
loved some more like funny antics.
yeah, because even like you said, I
Throughout that
thought
time.
more was going to happen with him while he was investigating Yor, but he wiretapped her. He was listening to a few of her conversations while she was at work, and then she leaves work to to deliver the mail, and that's when they do their little ensemble with them disguising themselves as the
Yeah,
Secret
so
Service. Like I said, I did thought more was going to happen with that, but it did not. Even when yours started being very confrontational, I thought more was going to go down then, but even then
yeah,
that
so I mean,
stuff
like
didn't
I said, it
happen.
was just maybe just lacking a few things here and there, but that's it's still a good episode though. I still
Yes,
think it's very good.
I agree. I
Um,
do agree. So we are now done with Spy Family episode 8 and 9. Let us know down below in the comments what you guys think about these two episodes of Spy Family. And we are going to be moving on to our next anime here. We're going to be moving on to Shield Hero. Once again, we're going to go ahead and start with the summary of episode 8, led by our friend here, McMillian.
Yeah, so episode 8 takes place after them getting out of the labyrinth. It is called A Parting in the Snow. And basically, we get to learn more about Kizuna's world. And not only Kizuna's world, but like more about people that she calls friends, but now Fumi knows as enemies, such as Glass, Lark, and I forget the other girl's name. But Kizuna, as they're traveling to
She has a
the
very forgettable name. I just want to point that out.
I forget what it is. I know she's
She's
on
a
the
very
gym.
forgettable person.
She doesn't do much. But we're gonna stop disrespecting her for a moment so I can get back. What is it? So basically, as Kazuna and Naofumi travel back to the place where Kazuna was summoned as a vessel hero, Naofumi just basically gets the rundown of I guess Kazuna's relationship with Glass, Lark, and Old Girl, as well as we find out that the wave countdown has started in this world. And as we know
Very
from the
interesting.
previous episodes, the wave is not supposed to exist in this world, supposedly.
Well,
And
I wouldn't say that. I think that because she's a vassal hero, she doesn't know about the ways. I think the cardinal heroes of this world knows about the ways because if we're not because Lark and Glass are from this world and they
well,
know
but does
about
it?
it.
Well, it didn't. What I'm saying is, I don't remember her having a reaction to like what they were in general, and I feel like a person would know what they were generally. Maybe
Yeah,
not
well,
like you
yeah,
know.
because I think it was back in episode 7 when
He
our
asked her
boy
about them.
Nafumi mentioned it too, and she was like, what's the way? What is the way? She didn't know
Yeah.
what he was talking
So
about,
that's what
but
I'm saying. Like, but now we have a countdown to it,
correct.
and so that's going to be interesting to see what happens when that all gets sorted out. But another thing that we come to realize through this episode, now Fumi and his team are still low level, and so they have to get back to grinding and selling. And now Fumi, after sharing basically his wares with Kizuna and Kizuna sharing the wares with him, they figure out basically like what's beneficial to them and what's not, and they decide to start selling this potion that helps boost that brings SP back or energy back to these people within Kizuna's world called the spirit people.
Mm-hmm.
And they make a buck. They make a killing. Honestly, they end up buying a new gear, and after gearing up and everything, they're introduced to this new character called Kazuki, who turns out to be like this supposedly really smart mage who figured out how to travel between the dragon hourglasses and Kizuna's world without being a hero, which Kizuna gave the information that, hey, to do the travel, you have to be a hero. You can't not be
Not be a
nothing.
hero.
So it's like, oh shit, how did he do this? They don't even really dwell on that part for much, and they're just like, hey, we know that we got good gear now, and then we know where we got to go. So we need to, get to that shit. So they end up basically pulling a heist, breaking into the temple that the Dragon Hourglass is, but they end up basically walking right into a trap. Kazuki is apparently was revealed to work for Kyo, and they basically had to defend against his people while looking for the Dragon Hourglass. They find it, but when they use it to teleport, Kyo's in weird True Glasses villain fashion. It's like, this is all part of my plan, and you're gonna leave, and Reptalia is gonna stay, and yeah, you lose now for me. And they get and that's basically in the episodes that they get teleported away, and Reptalia is taken hostage or gets captured.
See, so yes, that is the episode. I guess one thing I do want to touch upon about this episode is we discussed this, I think, back in when we was talking about episode 7, is hopefully we get more of a feel from the, I guess, the season 1 feel from this anime, now that they, when they got transported to the new world and they got, reset back to level 1. And in true fashion, we have been getting more feels of that from season 1, because Nafumi had to go back and start once again being a travel salesman, so we got a little bit of that action from this episode, so that was nice to see. Like you said, we also got to learn more about her world in general and all the different types of races and stuff that that exist in their world, and things of that nature. We learned that Glass was a spirit person, which is why she's so strong, because spirit people don't have MP like everybody else, and they don't have levels either. So their strength just comes from, I guess, their natural born strength, whatever they're born with. And so that spirit people are also tend to be the strongest beings in their worlds due to that fact right there. And that was the reason why Glass is so fucking strong, because she's a spirit person. And I don't remember her name because she is a forgettable person, but we found out that old blue hair girl is a gem person, which is interesting. They didn't really go.
I was about to say, they kind of hint to in the episode with the turtle thing. She takes off her headband and you can see it. But then we didn't have a name, I guess, for what if she was a race or a construct or something. So that was cool to find out.
They didn't go too deep into the gem race, but we found out what she was, and it's pretty much it. And like you said, we also found out that only not vassal heroes, only heroes in general can use the Dragon Hourglass to teleport, which is also a cool thing. That their Dragon Hourglass can be used to teleport, but the ones in Nafumi's world, they can't do that with their Dragon Hourglass, or they haven't figured that out. One of the two, because we don't know. It could be a possibility that they could use theirs to transport. We don't know, but haven't figured that out yet. At least in our world, we're a little bit behind.
That was like I said, that was a really cool thing to see, though, like how the different items and stuff interacted with like them based on the world they were from. And
I agree, because I did not think that was going to have any different type of effects in their world, because like you said, once one item that they found, I don't remember what it was, but he gave it to old girl and she got XP, and I'm like, how the hell she get XP from this random ass item you just gave her? Like, that's wild. That's wild. But that was a cool thing to find out, because I didn't think their items from their different world was going to have any different type of effects or anything in their world.
Yeah,
so that was kind of cool to find out.
Yeah, because their world seems pretty similar, except for like the wave thing and the fact that Vessel heroes can't hurt people. But hey,
and then I guess the last thing I did want to touch upon for this episode, you mentioned that the wave kind of has started back. So, and then you also mentioned how old girl didn't know about the waves.
Mm-hmm.
Do we think that's because she didn't know about them because she was stuck in the labyrinth at the time? Or maybe the waves work differently in this world?
Well, the way I'm thinking is, A, that could be a thing. They could have a different name for it completely. Or B, is that what was I saying? It could be possible that she could have missed whatever a wave was when she was captured, because we don't know how long we don't know what has been going on while she was in there.
Correct.
And we don't know how the waves necessarily affect their world, because the wave could be like, oh, how long you have until you get till Glass Lark and them get transported
to the other world. Yeah,
like it could for them. It could just be like them getting like those heroes getting teleported over to fight Naofumi or something like that, or Lois. It could be nothing. I don't know. And it could be having to do with and the fact that it's here now could have something to do with Naofumi now appearing in this world.
Well, the only reason why I wouldn't say is nothing is because we know the reason why Glass and gang are invading Naofumi's world is because to quote unquote save their world. So it has to have some ramifications on the world one way or another. We just
Yeah,
don't
I'm just saying,
quite
like
know yet.
if she doesn't know what it is, it can't. It has to be something that can be easily like contained that doesn't get out to a lot of people.
Correct.
Because she's a hero. Even if she's not like a cardinal hero, she is still a hero, and I
She
feel
is a
like
hero, yes.
should be aware of whatever the fuck
My vote is the way it started when she got trapped in the labyrinth. Well, they started during the time while she was trapped in the labyrinth. That's my guess.
Maybe, but I
Because
feel like we'll get into it. The only thing is about that I don't like, or like that has a hole in it. When she meets up with the hero that we meet in 9, he doesn't mention it.
he doesn't mention the ways. I
Yeah.
mean,
So that's the only thing, because I feel like, hey, if this started happening while you were gone, they would, tell her.
maybe, but I guess that just still depends because she is a vassal hero and not a cardinal hero. So,
But I mean, the waves have effect on the world, as far as we know.
yeah, as far as we
saying.
know, yeah.
So that's why I was like, unless this has happened the whole time, and it's an easy, and their version of the wave is just simply glass and them being teleported to Naofumi's world to fight him. I don't see how you couldn't know, because our only example of waves is like, oh, monsters appearing out of the fucking nowhere and destroying shit. You don't ignore that. Like,
No, you don't ignore that, which is why I said that the waves probably started happening while she was in labyrinth. But also, yes, that's something you don't necessarily miss. But the waves don't necessarily happen everywhere in the world at once. When the waves do come, is in a contained area, if you will, of a certain area. So
that is true. But I'm just saying, like the way this world seems is like it's like a network. Granted, they have enemy nations, but I feel like that's a bigger reason for them to know what's going on in different parts of the world, because they have to keep tabs.
And then another reason why she might not necessarily know about the ways is because we do know she was summoned to her world for a different reason than Naofumi, because that's when part of
true. But I'm just
the conversation when he brought up the ways, she was like, "No, I don't know what those about." I guess we was some here for different reasons. So,
but my whole thing with that is, I guess, is like that still relies on the fact that like they are keeping this like giant ass monsters coming out of the world secret from a hero, which how they treat her in episode 9, I don't think they do that.
I mean, maybe not, but at the same time, well, no, I was about to say she's not really a fighter, but I take that back. She just can't hurt humans. She can hurt monsters. We've seen her take down a monster, so I'm going to nip that in the bud now. So never mind. I will agree with you. Yes,
that's all I'm saying. I'm just saying, like with that one specifically, there's a hole there. But
I don't know. I mean, there's a hole in there in general, but I don't know. Still, my guess. I'm still going with it, even though there is a hole in it. The way it started happening while she was in the labyrinth. Yes, there may be a small hole in it, but goddamn it, I'm sticking with my theory.
I'm thinking that the waves are either new, or B, that it's been something that's been happening, but it's so easily contained. It's so small, like like Lark and them traveling or something like that, that it's not like something major that everybody knows about it. That's
because who knows?
That's the only thing that makes sense to me.
Glass is a badass. Who knows? Maybe she had single-handedly handling the waves on her side.
Maybe. Who knows? But with all that said, I'll go into our episode, the episode 9 slight recap. The episode 9 was called Hurry. Wait, no. Whoops. I almost read Tomodachi. Humming Fairy. That is episode 9 for Shield Hero. And in this episode, we basically all plans are a go to try and find Reptalia again. Naofumi is in Kazuna's home country, and immediately we get talking about season 1 vibes. Naofumi, upon announcing that he is a hero from a different world, is met with the most negative of vibes. And he is obviously perturbed because he's like, I just helped your hero get back here, and you bitch, you know what? Fuck it. I gotta find a raccoon.
You know what? And don't worry about it. Wait till you get through with the summer. Wait till you just go ahead and finish this.
So we go and we meet another vassal hero who's afraid of Kizuna, Ethnobolt, who's the boat vassal hero. Why does a boat need a hero? I don't know. Hopefully we find out later. And basically, Ethnobolt teaches Naofumi how to create a shikigami.
See,
I was almost said shinigami. I'm glad I didn't. Which is kind of like a familiar thing made of a person's physical essence and another. Well, actually, two people's physical essence, because it requires blood from somebody and then like a piece of hair or clothes or something from another person, and that will basically the Shikigami is made to keep the two people connected in a way, shape, or form. Like it basically represents like if that other person is okay and if they're alive, and also it can help them find that the other person they make. So they make one for Raftalia to basically help them discover where she's at. After doing so, it becomes a baby raccoon that they. Well, I was about to suppose something, but that is able to point on a map where Raftalia is. She's in the enemy nation, so they end up using Ethnoboat's teleportation ability that he has because he's the boat hero to travel to that nation. They don't end up finding Raftalia, but they do end up finding Philo, who unfortunately was basically in Raftalia's position when we first met her, a slave for this guy, and she was being forced to put on shows. Now Fumi and what's cool about this though is you can make anything cool, I guess, about slavery. Now Fumi, we see the Wrath Shield come back, which I did not even know that he could still bring out since the whole world changed, but it was cool to see because basically he's
it's
like,
still there.
Y'all tripping because that's my girl, and I'm a fuck y'all up. I just want y'all to know I'm a fuck y'all up. And
they had to hold my man's back.
Yeah, they had to hold him back. They infiltrate the place, save Philo, and now Fumi gets his revenge on the slave owner by basically making him relive Philo's experience with the Ghost Shield. I don't even know if that's actually what it's called, but that's
it's
what
called
it
like the Spirit Seal, some shit like
that. And we find, and basically the party is more complete now, and they're back to looking for Raftalia by the end of the episode. And the after credit scene, we basically see that Wrath. Oh well, by the end of the episode / after credit scene, we find out that Raptalia's status bar disappeared from Naofumi's HUD, and that basically he said that meant her slave seal had been removed, and she's been captured. It seems by we know she was captured by Kyo, but she's shown to be in like this very snowy place and like looking up at a castle. That was basically like the last thing we saw.
Correct.
For this episode.
Now, I'm gonna hop back on this before I lose my train of thought. So now, we was discussing Agora, the God damn it, Kizuna, old girl, heard know about the plot hole and whatnot. The reason why she may not know about it is because we, as you just discussed in this episode, she goes back to the capital and the people and everything. And the way they, like you said, they looked at Naofumi. They was like, "Why is he here? Get him out of here. He's here to destroy our world." Kizuna knew nothing about that. So with that being said, if she basically knows nothing about what's going on with other heroes and stuff like that, what makes you think she still might necessarily what's going on with the other cardinal heroes of her world? So that we just found out. Well, no, pause. So we just found out that that they are in fact keeping secrets from the heroes in their world.
Just let me
what's up?
Let me answer the question.
What's up?
This is a hero from a different world.
Okay.
So that's one. So it's not necessarily that they're keeping hero there that like this is information that you need to know because it's very from my understanding, here people coming to their world might be a rarity. So that might be why, quote unquote, there's a secret about it. And two, the thing that I'm not sure if the waves is related to this, but the fact of the matter is they could know that they send Lark and them to go fuck over Naofumi's world. So they could think that Naofumi's over there to get revenge for them fucking over his world.
But but once again, that would be some information that they're keeping from.
Well, I'm saying like that information it could only be kept from her, possibly because it's a rarity, and also too. Why would you want to tell somebody that you summoned to this world that we're actively sending people to go fuck up a different world? We're the good guys though. We're the good people. You don't
I'm just saying.
I'm just saying. I'll say that I don't disagree in the fact that they could be keeping the waves from her.
But once again, them actively sending people to another world to fuck up shit is part of the waves, though.
It could be. I said that.
It ain't no could be. We know that.
I said that could be the way. I said that could be their version of the wave is them infiltrating Naofumi's world. I did say that that's what it could be. I'm just saying the it being what Naofumi's version is would be, and her not knowing about it would be weird to me, because I'm just saying, like, even if that's not happening in her region, that is a crazy ass occurrence to not know about.
And once again, she might not know about it because it happened while she was in the fucking labyrinth.
But what?
I'm sticking with it. I don't care.
Would it have
just
started from that? I don't know if it would have started
until proven a further notice, until proven wrong. I'm sticking with it,
and that's fair. I think it's crazy, but that's fair. I guess we can move into our dislikes for this episode. I didn't really have much for this episode, but one thing I did have for last episode that they kind of rectified with this one. I felt like we weren't getting enough stakes. In terms of the show, like in the last season, I said this before, we get a lot of personal stake. Like, Naofumi has to prove himself to be a hero and a good person, and after that, we kind of just was like, oh, this giant turtle may or may not destroy the world.
It may or may not fuck us up.
But they add no personal stake to it. And in this, I still was like, Philo's missing, but it feels like to me that they're going to find her. So it doesn't feel like I should be on the edge of my seat for anything, really. In this episode, they kind of fixed it because of this whole, like, showing me, that she was in bondage, and then Raptalia's whole bar disappeared. So I'm like, okay, personal stake back. So so I don't really have one for this episode, but I will say that was something I was worried about for the show moving forward. I was like, how are they going to reintroduce something that makes the audience feel like there's urgency, you know?
Yeah, so, no, I agree. Like you said, there's something we touched up on in some of our previous episodes. And like you said, the personal stakes are now back. I do agree, because it doesn't really get more personal than somebody stealing Raptalia from him. So, and Philo as well. But he done got Philo back now.
Yeah.
So there's that. But yeah, no, I do agree with you on that statement you just made. But me, I don't really have any dislikes for this episode per se. One thing I will say I do find weird it's not necessarily a dislike, it's not even a nitpick, it's just something I really find weird is, what the hell is up with all these vassal heroes from this world? Kizuna is the fucking hunter hero, and then old boy is the boat hero. What is going on?
Now, it's interesting with that one. I thought it was interesting because I don't know if you remember last time we talked about Kizuna. I was like, I wonder if the heroes are based on actions and not items. But then we get a boat hero, so I was like, that kind of ruined that. Because I was like, dang, that's kind of cool. And then there was like boat, and I was like, well, fuck, all right.
There goes that theory out the window.
But he also doesn't seem to be able to hurt people though with his weapon. So I'm not.
Well, no, because I mean, it's a freaking boat. Unless he's just gonna start taking that and ramming into people. Technically, you can find ways to hurt people with it, but.
And also, but what is cool, I think, about his boat or whatever, it seems that it's more than just a boat. Like it seems to be anything that can really carry a person. But we'll have to see if that develops more on. Yeah. But I do agree with you. It is weird that we have not seen at least a cardinal hero from this world yet, or at least a mention of one. To our knowledge, at least. Because technically, Lark and Glass could be cardinal heroes, but we just don't know.
That's my working theory right now.
Yeah, it has been odd. We wearing a whole bunch of vassals, but no cardinals, and that's interesting.
The boat hero just gonna pull up one day with his boat, and you find out he got guns attached to it. Like you thought I couldn't fight.
That would be truly wild. Honestly,
my man has a mobile attack ship.
Yeah, a Gundam, if you will. So yeah, that was basically, I think, for dislikes. So we can move into our favorite scenes from this episode, and one of mine is Ethnobolt revealing himself to be a giant fucking rabbit, because that came out of nowhere.
It did.
Legitimately, Naofumi and him have one conversation about creating that
Shikigami.
The Shikigami, and Naofumi sniffs the air and was like, "Are you human?" And they're like, "Whoa, how did you tell that?" And then he just turns to a giant rabbit, and I'm sitting here laughing because I was like, what the fuck? Why? You know? I was like, what the? All right, cool, I guess.
Yeah. It was also interesting to, I guess, find out that he's the counterpart to what the Philolo Queen is for their world, for this world, which is
he's different.
Nice to find out.
He acts very, he can switch between human and Monster and
I mean, the Philo Queen, she can do that as well.
yeah, that's why I was just drawing that parallel. But yeah,
Yeah.
that was kind of cool. I wonder if there's more because as we saw from what is the current Philo Queen name?
I can't remember her name.
Well, regardless, she's a badass. So I'm wondering how badass he is. That's all they know.
And you know what? I'm glad you brought that up. She is a badass. So even though he, quote unquote, only has the boat as a vessel weapon, if you will, he himself might be able to do more things to
through like
fight
magic,
other than through magic and stuff like that. So technically, he probably still is be able to fight and stuff like that. Because what we do know as well that he was he holds high status in their world. I can't remember what rank they gave him, but he holds high status in their world as well. So, we do know he is very smart, and so we do know he can do magic as well. So maybe he may be more powerful than he's leading on to show us.
I
didn't think about that at first.
Yeah, no, it's just something to keep an eye out on. Besides that, the only other favorite scene I had was Naofumi getting revenge for Philo. Because it was just slavery. No one likes slavery. I don't think. Hopefully, the viewers. I'm watching.
That was my favorite scene as well.
Yeah, no, that was just. I don't think I expect the raid shield to come back, and two, I forgot they had a shield that can create illusions, and I was like, this is perfect. It was just nice.
I didn't think he lost the raid shield. I just didn't think he had the ability to tap back into it because he was low level again. So it was kind of cool to see that he still can bring it back out.
I didn't think it was permanent. I was more so like, oh, he's in a new world. He's starting at level 1. I didn't think it was going basically what you said more so. But I was thinking like he wasn't gonna get it back till he went back to his regular world. I know how.
Well, no, I just think. Well, I didn't take it as that. I just took it as he's locked out of all his other shields because they're at certain levels, that he has to be to use them. Because we saw him use that spirit shield in this episode as well. Yeah. So he still has access to his old shield, some of his old shields. I just don't think he has access to all of them due to him going back to level 1.
Yeah, no.
Well, he's not level 1 anymore, but he's still a low level now. He's not the same level he was in his other world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's a good thing to keep track of, that he still has access to the other ones and some new ones, because I think he has that cardboard one or whatever now. So I don't know what that'll do. But
I'm assuming nothing.
But yeah, those were my favorite scenes. Did you have any others?
No, like I said, the one with the ref shield and him getting his revenge on old boy that stole Philo was my favorite.
I'm ready. So basically, all I'm ready for is to see Kyo get his ass beat by Naofumi now, and to see where Lark and Glass come in, because we know that they technically have returned to this world, but we have not seen them yet. So
we have not seen them yet.
We'll have to wait and figure out what's going on.
Yeah, I'm really gonna surprise. I'm really waiting on to see what Kyo more has up his sleeves, because we know he has some type of bigger plan for him going and getting all the souls from these different guardian beasts and whatnot. So I'm wondering what his overall goal.
Yeah,
is.
what's the tea here, Kyo? What's going on? What's really happening?
Like, is it just your good old fashioned I'm finna take over the world type situation, or does he have something else planned?
Exactly.
But all right, let's go ahead and rate this episode now.
This one,
what you got for it? Because I think I got like a 7 for it.
Yeah. Okay. So this one I gave a 7. The other one I think I gave like a 6 or whatever. But this one I gave a 7 since we're focused on it. And the reason I gave this a 7, while at the end it kind of does make up for like that worry I had, it's kind of like too little, too late in a way. Well, not too little, too late, but it's kind of late. Is all I'll say. And it could have, I don't know, it could have been more, maybe. But I like the direction that Shield Hero is currently going, and I hope that they stick to it, because I think it'll be better. Because this, I don't think I'm wrong in saying that I speak for both of us a little bit on this and some of the anime community. But Shield Hero, you've been born for a minute. You had one. You had one very decent episode.
One. You had one
so far, and this one is probably like the second most decent out of that. But that's not saying a lot. So I'm gonna need them to keep going with this route that we got from this episode.
I agree,
because the most interesting thing is the fact that one, he's the stake is Reptalia being lost, and then two, this new world and how everything it interacts within it and the
See,
people that we know from here. So
yeah, it definitely looks like we're building up to a decent climax here that can hopefully save the horrible season that we've had so far with Shield Hero season 2 here. Hopefully the climax is looking to be good because, like I just stated, the personal stakes is now here, and then two, we don't know what Kyo's big grand plan is just yet. So hopefully, whatever that is, it gets revealed, and we gotta stop him one way or another. Basically, we should be due for a big battle here. That's what it's leading up to. We should be due for a big battle here, one way or another. Whether it's going to be episode 10, well, it has to be episode 10 because I think season 2 is only 12 episodes long this season. So,
are you sure that's not like the first half of the core?
I don't know. I just read, if I'm not mistaken, when I was doing my research for Shield Hero and stuff, that Shield Hero is only going to be 12 episodes long for this season.
Okay,
it could be the first core, like you said. That's what I'm hoping because I'm not sure what can they resolve in 3 episodes with what we got going on, but who knows?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. So just for the viewers and listeners, just take that with a grain of salt, the 12 episode thing, because we're not 100% sure on that.
Yes, not 100% sure, but if I'm not mistaken, when I was doing my research, I found when I was looking at some stuff, articles and stuff, they were saying that Shield Hero season 2 was only supposed to be 12 episodes long.
That would be kind of disappointing because I feel like they have a chance if they take if they're not rushing it. I feel like they have a chance to really pull the season back up.
Yeah, I agree, but this is something we discussed episode 1 of Shield Hero that it was only going to be 2 episodes long.
Was it? And, okay, yeah. Look, a lot's happened since episode. You have to forgive me. We was down Tomodachi Game in episode 1, so
we were. Well, we wasn't necessarily doubting it. We was just waiting to see what it was going to do. But anyways, speaking of Tomodachi Game, so that is the end of Shield Hero here. Everybody, let us know down below in the comments what you think of episode 8 and 9 of Shield Hero, and do you agree with us as well that you like the direction where season 2 now of Shield Hero is heading in? Do you not like it? Do you think they could be doing something else? How you guys feel about these 2 episodes, and I guess in the season overall for Shield Hero season 2. And we're going to move on to our last anime for today, the finale, Tomodachi Game, both episode 8 and 9. And then once again, we're only going to go through the notable points of episode 8 for this anime. So McMillian, go ahead, I'll hand it off to you.
Tomodachi Game, I'm gonna say this before I get into this. Tomodachi Game continues to surprise me with the bullshit that it ends up pulling off, honestly. So we're gonna start with episode 8 in true Tomodachi Game fashion. This episode title is long as hell. It's a game where you wait and wait and wait and keep waiting. That is the full title for episode 8.
One thing I will say I can appreciate about Tomodachi Game is they're sticking to their guns with these crazy titles for these episodes,
and they're accurate because that is legitimately what happened in episode 8. So I'm gonna just break it down real quick. So episode 8, we get more of an explanation on the rules. Me and Alex aren't going to go over it too much. We may post a screenshot of the notes that we have or something. I have it timestamped. But basically just know they expound upon violence, switching, food, and
give up.
And give up. That's basically they kind of flesh those out more. Tenji, as being the hider, they spend a majority of the first half of the episode without Maria, looking for Tenji a hiding place. And Yuichi basically divulges to Tenji is like, look, man, if we're going to win because of our low numbers, we might have to play dirty. Tenji does not fully understand what that means because Yuichi does not expound upon that, but he's like, look, Yuichi, I'm going to trust you wholeheartedly because you are trying to get revenge. Well, technically, he's trying to, take down the establishment. Well, then give Tenji revenge for his dad. Fast forward. We find out, immediately fast forward. We find out that Tenji has been left 2 days within the cave that they found as a hiding place.
I'd be pissed.
And again, he hasn't eaten for 3 on top of the 2. So now it's 5. Now. And what I'm saying now it's 5. Yeah. They had drinking water for at least some of those 3 days. But now he's gone a full 2 days without water. and 5 days without eating. I believe in science that you can only go a week without eating before you start to actually like enter dying, like for real,
Yes,
for
it's a
real,
week.
for real.
It's a week. Yeah.
So your boy, you can imagine that your boy Tenji is going through it.
Yeah, a week
So
with no
Tenji,
food and like 3 days
oh,
with no
excuse me.
water.
One rule I forgot to say that they also they have cell phones, and they can call anybody, which is also something I feel like we should be paying attention to because I feel like that's a major thing. The fact that
Well,
they
he
can
didn't.
call
I don't know. Did they say anybody?
body,
Because
yes,
I don't know if they
can call any of not any. Well, excuse me, they can't call anyone that's outside of the game. They can call any member, like any member of like Group C or Group K can contact anyone they choose within the game. Not game masters or anybody out in the world, but they can communicate between themselves. So I'm gonna just say that's something to keep in mind because the switch rule and that is pretty powerful together. Moving forward, but Tenji, with that being said, Tenji uses his phone call to be like, "Hey, Yuichi, I just want to check up on, see what's going on, where my goddamn burger's at, you motherfucker." And Group K, BTS answers, and they're like, "You've been abandoned. You're not important." And they say that this is what Yuichi is telling them. They say that's what's happened. What Yuichi's telling them. They're suggesting that he just quits, and Tenji's like, "Nah, if he's doing all this, he's doing it for a reason, and I'm gonna stick beside him." and he just leaves
I'm
it
gonna
at
stick
that.
beside my boy.
Yep. And then basically for the rest of the episode, we get to spend our time with Group K, and we find out that Group K, the reason they're so close and tight knit, is that they're a sports team. Not only are they friends, but they're into sports, so they're bonded by sport anime bullshit, if you will. And that makes them more reliant, I guess, on each other, more able to function as a unit, which makes it harder. And within that we find out that me and Ace were correct, and that Big Homie was the leader, and they legitimately don't do things without consulting this man, like at all. Because by the end of this episode, Yuichi basically announces to Group K that he wants to switch sides, and that starts off a whole hullabaloo. But that's in the next episode.
Correct.
So with that being said, I'll just say this: generally, I think episode 8 was really good because Shinji going through it was wild as fuck to me. That as well as the commentary from the game masters and stuff, that was just cool. I thought
part of the episode. Whenever the game masters commentate is some of the best parts of the episodes.
I just saw all of that accumulating was just fun. One, this episode should not be funny, but it's the most hilarious shit ever because Tenji is going through it, and
legit.
It like he at one point, I believe it's in this episode, he starts hallucinating that Yuichi
it was
came.
In this episode, yeah.
That Yuichi came to give him food. That's not true at all.
Fucked up. This is not so true fucked up.
At all. Huh.
That was so fucked up. And then, we found out, of course, through episode 9, this wasn't the case, but when Tenji got that call from old boy and the other team, and he was like, Yuichi spilling your secrets and stuff like that. I was like, Yuichi wouldn't do that. And then, fast forward,
you see him posted up on that table, with just him and Maria just sitting there, like, yeah, we've been talking. Well, Yuichi been talking, but like,
yeah, and I was like, no shot, right? That Yuichi's doing this man like this, right? Like, it's no shot. But I will say this: Tenji is a better man than me because I don't know if I could have lasted as long as this man. 5 days with no food, 3 days already with no water. Well, 2 days with no water, not 3. That's tough. That's real tough.
In reality, I think you can only go 3 days, I think, without water. So
yes, it's a week with no food, 3 days without water.
I get hangry. So I would have probably by day 1.
Not day 1.
You would have had me fucked up.
No, see, well, I would say this. I would have got past day 1. You probably would have had me fucked up, yes, but I would have made it past day 1. I would at least say that. I would have gave you 1 day. Now, day 2, I don't know if I would have made it past day 2 now.
You
get day 1, But I don't know about day 2.
Maybe I'm more resilient than I think. I don't know, but I know me. And if I don't have food at least once during the day, I feel terrible, and I'll do anything to not feel terrible.
Well, the only reason why I say that is because some days I can go all day without eating. Really, it's a bad habit.
Yes,
but
I was about to
it's
say
a habit that I have.
If I am focused on something, that is true. I can go without eating. But the thing is, you leave me in a cave where I have nothing to focus on.
I feel you. No, I feel you. Like I said, you get one day. You get one day. I can look at myself and think, yes, I can make one day. Now that day 2, I don't know. I don't know if I'm making it past day 2, but I can give you one day. But I don't know about day 2.
Yuichi would have had me fucked up.
Especially after I start hallucinating and stuff. Oh man, it's time to push the button.
It's time to push the button. I honestly, I would love to hear, guys. Even though we gotta, talk about episode 9. Please do let us know how long do you think you would have lasted. I would like to hear. I think that'd be hilarious. But moving on to episode 9 of Tomodachi Game, which is titled "Hurry Up and Switch Sides." We basically leave off from where we left off at, and remember I said BTS basically has to consult their leader on everything, and I do mean everything. It's even this decision, which we find out in this episode, or from last episode, the switching rule. Technically, only one member of a team has to accept the switch for it to happen. Mm-hmm. And at first, that's what it seemed like was going to happen. But like I said, BTS got to consult the big leader, and he said no. Hell no. Stay strong, because we basically got him on the ropes. Because this was figured out in the last episode. Basically, this game isn't really hide and seek. It's more of a war of how long the hider can last before he or she gives up. So obviously the switch does not go through because the big guy is not stupid. But Yuichi, we get flashes within doing so. We kind of go to Maria and the other game masters, and we get flashes of Maria basically having her discussions with Yuichi, saying like, "Oh, she's dedicated to the team." And Yuichi explains, saying, "Hey, because of our low numbers, I'm gonna have to use you in any way possible. You okay with that?" And she agrees. And I already knew that it was gonna be some shit. And immediately after agreeing, as we know, Maria is a game master hidden. She immediately messaged after that. I think after that talk, she messaged her friend, her other game master, and said, "This man is much more of a crazier asshole than we believed."
Well, I don't think at least I don't recall if she messaged people, but I think there was some inner dialogue she was having with herself. I could be wrong, I don't recall.
I remember the other game master reacting to it, so that's all I'm saying. But you could be correct, because that was the inner dialogue that she did say to herself as well. But I do remember the other game master mentioning it either in this episode or last episode. But basically, within this episode, we see Yuichi interact with 2 Group K members. The blonde one, whose name is
technically all 4. Technically 4.
Well, it's all 4, but I'm saying like most of the interactions happen between these 2 specific ones. Which one of them is named Onigawara. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. And Hashiratani.
Call this man Hashira for short.
No, because Hashiras are cool, and I'm not going to disrespect them. But basically, he interacts with those 2, and the whole time from the flashback, we understand that Yuichi's looking for something, and he said, "When I find it, he's going to give Maria the signal." So Yuichi's talking with Onigawara. Onigawara tells him this sad sob story about like how he was causing his basketball team, his sports team, to end up start losing because he wasn't as good as everybody else. But so he practiced and gave his heart out to be better
for the team.
And Yuichi, he's trying to, Yuichi's acting like good boy Yuichi right now. He's like, "Oh, okay, I understand you, I get you. That's cool and everything." And then Hashiratani shows up and he's like, "Hey, where's the girl? You obviously cannot, and you out here just being buddy with this dude. We already know he can provoke you and stuff. You go watch her, because you ain't doing this right." So So Hashiratani and them switch. Well, they don't switch positions, but basically Onigawara goes to find Maria, who's taking a bath at the moment, fully naked, and Onigawara freaks out and he's like, "Oh shit!"
Well, quote, not fully naked. She had
Not
on her underclothes.
not fully naked.
This is a
Underclothes.
PG anime.
For now, because I feel like we're gonna get into some really dark shit later, but I can't neither confirm or deny that.
Well, PG-13 at least. I will say at least PG-13.
Yeah. So after Onigawara sees this, he freaks out because he's very chivalrous. As we're learning, he's a very good person. And he freaks out. Goes back to Hashiratani. He's like, "Yo, man, I can't watch her. She's taking a bath that's like, totally invasive." And Hashiratani is like, "What are you? What is up with you? No, go do your job." And in the midst of them arguing, Yuichi gives a signal. He says, "I found what I'm looking for." He grabs, and from what he does, you think that it's an item because he ends up like taking a bag and he starts running. Maria meets up with him. They're getting chased by Onigawara and Hashiratani, and they're on this cliff. And obviously, if you're watching this, I hope you're watching the show. But if not, our boy Yuichi gives no fuck for these hoes, none at all, because the distraction that he used Maria for was to push her off of the cliff, so he could get a straight getaway to his boy Tenji, so he can get food. Maria does get saved by the two Group K members, but this man should be in jail.
We're gonna talk about this, but go ahead and finish the summary, though.
So, to finish out the summary, we basically Yuichi basically tells Tenji that he passed the test, that he can fully trust him now, and Yuichi basically divulges all the secrets of what his plan is. And his plan, Yuichi says, his plan to fight dirty is basically to exploit Onigawara as this group, as he is the kindest person within his group.
See,
and use that to slowly break the friendship of Group K.
Correct.
And we see this already work because at the end of this episode, Onigawara is like, Yuichi is crazy. He doesn't say this exactly, but basically what I'm understanding from how this happened, they end up saving Maria. Onigawara is very upset by what Yuichi did. So by the end of this episode, Onigawara is like, I'm going to switch teams. And from my understanding, I think the reason that it happens is because he's concerned about Maria's safety.
That's very interesting. You know, we're going to go ahead and touch on that topic right now since it's fresh. So you think the reason he's switching sides is because he wants to protect Maria from Yuichi? That's an interesting fact. I thought he wanted to switch sides because after he saved, after the two Group K members saved Maria, we saw Maria, which I think was part of the plan, I guess kind of start flirting with Hashiratani, and that kind of, I guess, upset it Onigawara because he was the one who saved her, and Yuichi also mentions that he was that old boy Oni is kind of like weird around girls and stuff like that, and so I thought he switched sides because he was jealous. That's what I thought.
That could be a part of it. But I think ultimately the reason he did it as being the kindest member was that he felt like he had to be a knight in shining armor.
Correct. And your theory sounds way more plausible than mine, and it makes a lot of sense.
But we won't know until the next episode. But we can see this mastermind, this demon, working his magic.
Correct. And then I will say we are definitely starting to see the more real side of Yuichi because, one, there is no guarantee that the Group K members save Maria once he pushes her off the cliff.
None
no guarantee. Like he had, even if he was correct about the assumption that old boy was going to attempt to save her, there's still no guarantee that he is going to be able to save her.
Mm-hmm.
He basically literally just pushed her off and was like, good luck. It was just good luck.
As Tenji said in the episode, that's a crazy gamble. But as Yuichi explained, I got him. Which is probably the most asinine but Chad explanation you could give to a situation is that I got him. I'm that
I
guy.
mean, but still, that's wild as fuck. Because he literally could have just killed that girl right then and there.
100%. But also, I don't know if he really cares, because I think Yuichi is already pretty much figured
Probably
out
not.
that
Because I mean, I'm pretty sure like you say, he already got some type of eyes on her, and he thinks that I don't think he 100% knows that she's a part of the Tomodachi game, but I do know he of course he is watching
he's
her,
very
and very suspicious of
yeah.
her.
So I don't. So he's obviously, I don't think he really. That's not his friend. At the end of the day, he don't know that.
At that point, yes, he's very suspicious of her, but I don't think he knows that she's part of the Tomodachi game yet. Because one, if he figures that out, how the fuck you figure that out, sir? Like, you explain this shit to me.
The only inkling he could do is it's very suspicious that she is the only one of her group that made it to this point, and that they allow her to continue by herself.
Well, not necessarily, because at the end of their game too, Shiho, if it wasn't for Yuichi being himself, Shiho would have been the only one that passed her game.
But the thing is, it seemed to be understood that you would have just lost if that was the case, though. That's kind of what they don't flat out say it, but they basically kind of explain that this game is impossible to do by oneself.
Correct. So, and technically, yes, she theoretically, yes, she technically would have just lost, but she still would have went on to the next game by herself.
But what I'm saying is, I think what Yuichi, as devious as he is, could surmise that this might not be an actual player, because if it was, would they really merge the groups together or not? I think that's in his head, the idea, that thought. I don't think he's like you said, I don't think he's fully realized it, but that could be a thought in his head, because that would be a thought in mine, like, does this normally happen? Y'all normally be doing this?
I mean, I don't know. Like I said, the explanation they did give was, good, was basically right on the spot, because
what could have happened to them?
What could have happened, because it almost happened to them themselves.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I said I don't fully think he thinks it's that. But what I'm saying is, the idea is probably there. Like, this does not seem. I mean, this could be a thing that they normally do, but is it?
Correct.
That's all I'm saying. Is that he probably has the idea in his head.
Yeah, no, I see where you're coming from.
I would think that too. I'd be like, okay, I'm a little cautious because I don't know who the fuck you are.
No, 100% be cautious. No, 100% because it's just some random player, and you're not going to trust them regardless of if you whatever. But yeah, okay.
Yeah. But basically from there, we can go into our dislikes. I don't know if I speak for both of us. I ain't got nothing. So from there,
I'm good. There's nothing to say.
Look, a Tomodachi Game hidden, and if your friends aren't watching, beg them.
Not beg them.
Tie them in a chair and make them watch it. It's a good show. If they don't like it,
give them the robot chicken treatment.
Yes. But from there we can move on to our favorite scenes, and I have so much from both of these, so I'm just gonna do 9. Maria being pushed,
hands down.
The wildest shit that happened.
Hands down.
I honestly, wildest shit that's happened so far, and I'm pretty sure we're gonna get wilder. But when I say to you, I was not ready, even though I could have technically have predicted it, because we're running along this cliff edge. How is he gonna do it? I just didn't expect that, and now I know I'm underestimating how crazy this motherfucker is. That's all I'm learning.
Listen, I was none the wiser, and then, like I said before, he basically just took a fat ass gamble, because there is no guarantee that man saves Maria.
None at all.
And then another thing, I guess, now that you brought that up, does that not count as violence?
I know, it's funny. I thought that too. But it seems like maybe violence is more of a direct type of like action. And when I say direct, I mean like you're like a bald fist punching someone.
Like physically hurting somebody.
Yeah, like I don't think, like, if it doesn't cause physical harm, maybe it doesn't count. Maybe that's the loophole around the violence.
The violence.
Because a push necessarily does not cause physical harm. You falling from a push does. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So maybe he just figured out a way around it, which is still crazy. But at the end of the day, he took a major gamble while he was right. that's still wild as hell. Um, and from there, my only other favorite scene besides that is Yuichi announcing his plan to bring down Group K, because it just got me hyped. Because I was just like, okay, how are we gonna pull this off?
My last favorite scene is not necessarily him announcing like his plan to bring down Group K. It's more just starting to see that come to fruition when we saw Onigara switch sides. Because why would he switch sides? I do like your theory. Like you say, he wants to, kind of be the shining knight in armor and now protect Maria from Yuichi crazy ass. And so, but I, what is going through this man's head that's literally making him betray his team right now and switch sides? That's what I'm thinking about, and that's what I want to see next. What happened next?
Crazy shit. I look forward to every Tomodachi episode, even though I was on vacation. Was like I didn't watch it, but the moment I got back, it was like one of the first things I did. So Tomodachi, beautiful. As far as the rating goes, I gave this an 8.
100%. Yeah, I'm about to say at least no lower than an 8.
That
None lower. I don't think.
they
I don't think. I think it was missing maybe some more things here and there to bump it up to at least a 9 or a 10.
mhm.
Well, at least a 9 because it's not a 10. But I think it was missing more things here and there to bump it up to a 9. But yes, it's definitely an 8.
I no question in my mind. That episode was just really nice. The way they execute, showing off the plans happening and the explanation, really good Tomodachi.
It's really good. Like Yuichi is slowly starting to break down Group K, and I just can't wait to see what happens next. Because
Mhm.
one is it was his plan all along just to get one to switch over, being the quote unquote the nicest guy of the group, and from there it starts tumbling down the rest of the friendship in Group K, because that is going to start some shit in their friendship. Him, this man switching sides,
Oh,
regardless of his reason. Like
regardless,
it's going to start some mess.
one
But
hundred percent.
because I can't remember the full rules, but I know if you switch sides and your team, the team, your original team wins, you end up taking some debt, but you go back to your original team and you contend your game. But I can't
Yeah.
remember what it was for if you switch side and that team wins. I can't remember what happens then. I think you win. I think if I remember correctly, you get some of your debt taken off, but you don't continue on to the
No,
next game.
yeah, basically,
If
I
I
think
remember
that I
correctly.
believe you are correct. So anything can happen right now, and I am looking forward to it. But with all that being said, that
Well,
is
yes.
those are all of our
So
animes.
that is the end of our Tomodachi game review. Once again, let us know down below in the comments what you think of both episode 8 and 9. And if you're just as hyped for episode 10 as we are, during the time of this airing, actually, episode 10 will already be out. But let us know what you guys think, how hyped you are for episode 10. Please, once again, no spoilers, but let us know what you think down below in the comments.
Yep. And with that all being said, guys, that's basically our animes for today. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap us up.
Go
So
and wrap us
as
up then, Chief.
always, guys, thank you for watching and thank you for listening. We appreciate the support. As always, if you do enjoy our stuff, please consider liking and subscribing on YouTube and sharing the podcast and giving us a good review. It really helps us grow. You know, grow the community, grow the council, grow this team. As
See,
always, if you want to keep up to date with us, please consider following us on our social media, and that is at Gurren Otaku Council on Facebook and Twitter, and at Gurren Otaku. Oh, excuse me, I say on Facebook and Twitter, on Facebook and Instagram, and at Gurren Otaku's on Twitter. Uh, basically, as Ace mentioned earlier, there may or may not be an episode next week. You will basically find that out through
our
those
social
channels.
media.
Yeah.
Yes.
So do please keeping up to date basically means that you'll be up to date with when we any information that comes to from us to you. Um, and as always, guys, appreciate you. Make sure you go.
Appreciate you.
Make sure you go and watch some good ass anime.
See,
And just enjoy life. This is Gurren Otaku Council signing off, saying meeting adjourned. Peace.
peace.